Hey, shalom, Miss Israel, for the brothers and sisters tuning in. If I get y'all like and share the class, bro, for something, everybody know we live. All right, shalom, Israel. You're on live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, Priest and Captain Soccer War, live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, ISUPK has been teaching the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And the purpose of these classes that we have every week is to give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible, to find the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Most High provided here to our ancestors for us to be able to receive in this day, so that we can come back to keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave us, so that we could rise up strong as the people that He intended us to be. All right. We now have a school in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a school that's open to the public. The address is 216 North Hollywood Street in Memphis, Tennessee. You brothers and sisters tuning in, you got any family, loved ones, people you care about, that's in Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, you get them in contact with us. They need leadership, guidance, counsel, protection, security. Get them in contact with the ISUPK. We provide those free to all Israelites born. All right. So we come have these classes every week. Tuesday is a brotherhood class. Wednesday is a biblical law class. Thursday is scripture breakdown. Today being a brotherhood class, I want to discuss the recent judgment that was handed down in the George Floyd unlawful death suit. It's a civil suit that was settled by the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the family of George Floyd was rewarded $27 million due to the wrongful death that occurred when a police officer sat on the neck of George Floyd until he could no longer breathe and died. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the incident, but I just wanted to go into the Bible today to discuss what is a black man's life worth. All right. Before we get into the topic for tonight's class, if any brothers and sisters have any questions, all you gotta do is type them in, and we'll deal with any questions that you all may have. If there are no questions, we'll go ahead and dig right into tonight's topic. All right. If any brothers inside the class have any questions, all you gotta do is raise your hand. All right. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. All right, so I don't see any questions online, so let's go ahead and get right into it again. Today, we're discussing what is a black man's life worth. Again, so this past week, for those of you who may not know, the city of Minnesota, Minneapolis, the city police department handed down a judgment or settlement to the family of George Floyd for $27 million. So last year, the earth was able to watch as a police officer by the name of Derek Chauvin kneeled down on the neck of George Floyd while he was handcuffed with his hands behind his back, as the brothers begged and pleaded and called for his mother, saying that he couldn't breathe, asking the officer to just let off of him a little bit. The brother laid there under the knee of that cop and died after the space of 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. All right, good luck, y'all. So as I was saying, the brother George Floyd died at the hands of the Minnesota Police Department earlier last year, and as the earth watched the brother die with the knee on his neck, it sparked outrage across the earth, sparked riots in Minnesota and DC and many different places across the earth. You understand that with cries for Black Lives Matter, and everybody came protesting for the cause of the death of George Floyd. Well, after all of the pain and suffering, and after all of the crying and all of the riots, the Minnesota Police Department determined that George Floyd's life was worth $27 million. That's how much they paid to his family for his death. And for those of us who understand true justice, 27 million does not make up for the life of a man that was snuffed out, right? And not only does it not make up for the life of a man that was snuffed out, it's almost a slap in the face to not only his family, but to all the people who felt the evil and the wrongness of what happened to that man. You know what I'm saying? To throw money at his family as a means of saying we're sorry it doesn't sit right with me. And it doesn't sit right with anybody who understands true justice. You understand? When our oppressors, when something happens to our oppressors, they don't seek monetary reimbursement. Something happens to our oppressor, they don't say, well, you know, how much is this person's life worth? And that's how much we want in payment. But I listened to a personal injury lawyer, and this is a black guy named Carl Lewis, right? Let me see, make sure to get this brother's name right. Because it was listening to this brother that made me want to teach this class tonight, because Carl Douglas is his brother's name, right? So Carl Douglas is a civil rights, he's like a civil rights advocate, but he's also a personal injury lawyer in Los Angeles, California, right? Carl Douglas is one of these cats that's been in the spotlight, so to speak, in terms of standing up for black rights. He's one of the lawyers that was on the team that was put together for O.J. Simpson back when O.J. Simpson fought his case and was found not guilty, right? So this cat, Carl Douglas, is like, he's famous and well known for his stance in, you know, for black issues and him fighting against the system of America, right? And I listened to Carl Douglas, and the interview was, they were asking him, so, you know, Carl Douglas, when you hear that the Minnesota Police Department has settled for $27 million with the family of George Floyd, you know, how does that make you feel? And the brother was very lawyerly in his response. He said, well, I feel like we're moving the needle. He was like, you know, for years we've seen black men die and suffer these injustices, and there's never any kind of recompense. There's never any kind of, you know, there's nothing that happens to make up for it. It's just we never get any justice. And he said, you know, make no mistakes about it. You know, this 27 million is a big step towards, you know, making people think twice when it comes to violating Black people, when it comes to the evil they do to us. And he just said very clearly, he said, now, I'm not saying that 27 million is justice. He said, but in this system, there is no other way for Black people to get any justice. He said, we as a society have determined that when something wrong happens to you, the way to make up for it is to sue somebody. And he said, the best that we could hope for in this system is for the family of someone who dies a tragic, horrible death like George Floyd, is that they're able to live out the rest of their days and taken care of. And to hear him talk about it as a Black man, it made me cringe, because it's like, well, damn, so we supposed to be happy that George Floyd's family got $27 million? Is that supposed to make us feel okay? And his logic is, well, yeah, that's what else do you expect? Like, what more do you want to happen? But the cop go to jail, okay, that's cool, but George Floyd's still not here. He not coming back. So if you can get a check out of it, get a check. And okay, but he's not evil for that. The system is evil because that's the choice it gives you. So it made me start to think, well, what is a Black man's life worth? This cat called Douglas went as far as to say 2 years earlier in that same Minnesota Police Department, a white woman got killed by a Somali officer. He said in the state of Minnesota, in the history of the entire state of Minnesota, there's only been 2 times that officers have been arrested in excessive use of force cases or in wrongful death cases, deaths that resulted by a cop doing his job. He said the first time was 2 years ago, and it was a Somali cop, a brown brother is the way he said it, and he killed a white woman. He shot her, and that white woman's family sued the state of Minnesota, and they came back with a $20 million judgment in that woman's case. He said, so 2 years ago, the state of Minnesota paid $20 million in a wrongful death case involving a cop shooting a white woman. He said, well, now we got George Floyd, his family's issued 27 million. He said something about 5 years ago, there was another case that occurred in Florida or somewhere, or Wisconsin, where a brother had got shot by a cop and they paid his family 12 million. And so this guy, being a lawyer, he's looking at the numbers. He's saying, well, 5 years ago, a nigga's life was worth 12 million. No, he said Breonna Taylor. He said Breonna Taylor's family, in her wrongful death case, they got 12 million. He says, we got a Black woman, a year ago, her life was worth 12 million. A white woman 2 years ago, her life was worth 20 million. Well, now we got a Black man and his life is worth 27 million. He said, maybe now this price tag going up will make these cops think twice about harming a Black person. Maybe now, because there's consequences and repercussions, they will, the training will change, or they'll be less likely to pull a trigger. When what Carl Douglas doesn't understand is the devil doesn't care about that. Yeah. Like what we have to realize is that in this society that we're living in, people aren't even acknowledging God. They're not even thinking about life in terms of a spirit from the Lord. And when you're here for a purpose. And when you die, your spirit goes to the Lord. Like that part of the whole thinking ain't even being acknowledged. We're not even acknowledging that this was a person, man. It was a man who had kids and, women he loved and a mother and, lived his whole life, being raised, and that life was taken. And all the system can give us is some money. Come on with us, sis.
I had a question. So, let's just say, hypothetically, the man who killed George Floyd got the death penalty, whatever. Is he saying that's not enough? The family should expect a payout along with it, or that he's just saying He could have paid out already. Or he just told about death penalty when he did else if he
That's what he said. He didn't even acknowledge the cop. Because they asked him after, they said, okay, so the family gets the money, but what happens to the cop? And he was like, well, the defense attorney's job is to give his client the best chances to get acquitted. And so they're going to use this judgment to, argue that justice has already been served. And he said, whether the cop goes to jail or not, the family is taken care of now. So it's damn near, it's like, okay, here's what it is. It is a acknowledgement that this system will not change. And it's almost a defeated, it's a spirit of, well, you can't beat them, so join them. Like, hey, they get that money. And it's sad, but that is what oppression does to you. That is the weight that oppression, the weight of oppression being on somebody will take that spirit from them. So where this is a cat who's been in the fight for 40 years. He's been fighting for civil rights for 40 years. But he's accepted the fact that the system ain't gonna change. So the most we could hope for is that the dollars will run up when they kill niggas. And to be a righteous man in a place that thinks of life and death that way, it's sad. I guess that's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
To where we at a place where we can't expect real justice. I hope you can get some money out of it. And the evil with that is the thought that money makes it better. When money doesn't make life better. Money doesn't make life better. There are people who have money who have the same issues inside as people who are broke. Depression doesn't care about how much money you make. Emptiness, that the feeling of not having a purpose in life doesn't change with a dollar amount. Missing someone who you love that died doesn't change with a dollar amount. If anything, all money gives you is access to more things to fulfill your flesh and take you away from your spirit. And that is what Carl Douglas was speaking about when he talked about all we can hope for is that the dollars will run up. Because God forbid you actually want justice. He actually said, I tell families that are in situations where they're injured, like, it'll go through what George Floyd's family go through. He said, you're going to have to work out your own grief. Nothing I can do for that. I'm a lawyer. He said, you got to work out your own grief. So, getting over the death that's something you got to work out. My job is to get you some money. And it's like, that's evil.
It is evil.
That's evil as hell. But to him, what you want me to do? You want me to get you justice? Nigga, I can't get you justice. I can get you some money though. You know what I'm saying? And that's the system. This system has conditioned us to think that way. Because this is a system that does not at all consider God. That does not at all bring the weightier matters into even the consciousness. It's not even a conscious thought that this was wrong. That God is going to make someone pay. That there's a force in the universe that determines what's right and what's wrong that'll make the wrongs right. You got people who don't even believe that is a thing. There is no making it right. You want to make it right that the police killed this nigga? Where you gonna get that from? Who's gonna do that? Do the police ever make it right when they kill niggas? But that's Carl Douglas's train of thought. Carl Douglas's thought is, it's another nigga dead. Ain't nothing gonna happen. The best we could hope for is some money. When that's a hopeless way to live. How do you fight depression if that's your thought process? How do you overcome demons or things in the inside of you hurting you? If you don't have no hope that there's a God that can fix the wrongs in the world, well, then how do you fix yourself? You don't. You get high. You go get a prostitute. You just feel good. You just do what feels good. That 27 million may make George Floyd family feel good. Hey, got a new car, feeling good. Take a little vacation, feeling good. See this new house, nice new house, feeling good. But on the inside, you're dying. You're dead. Your son is gone. Your father's gone. Your brother is gone. This nice new car, I wish my brother was here. This new house, I wish my brother was here. And the house, the car, the money, it can't replace the brother. It can't replace the life that was taken. But this place will tell you that you got a car. So that's what I wanted to explore today. Let's go to Psalms, the 10th chapter. If anybody has any questions, of course, just bring them out. I'm going to try to get through this breakdown, and any questions, we'll go to them at the end of the class, all right? But let's go ahead and get Psalms chapter 10, verse 2. And I believe it's important that we understand that God warned us about this man. God warned us about this time that we're living in. He warned us about the spirit of this empire and their thoughts towards life and death. What we are experiencing on the earth, being black people in this Western civilization, is all the evil of this place is what God warned us against when he gave us his laws. Everybody understand? Let's get Psalms chapter 10. Let me get verse 4. All right. This is Psalms chapter 10, verse 4. And if you want to understand why this is such an evil place, why this is such a cruel society, and why the thoughts of our oppressor when they kill brothers and sisters in the streets is to have no regard for their life or to have no thought to what happens to them after that, these scriptures are going to lay it out for us, all right? Psalms chapter 10, verse 4 says, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sits in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places does he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He does catch the poor when he draws him into his net. He crouches and humbles himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He has said in his heart, God has forgotten. He hides his face. He will never see it. Everybody understands? Like, this is describing the white man. This is describing the Minnesota Police Department. The police department all across this nation. You understand? They prey on poor people, man. They murder poor people. And they never think to themselves, what is God going to do to me? They never think to themselves that God is going to punish them, which goes to show you that the religion of Christianity, even by our oppressive standards, is not it can't be rooted in God. If you're a white Christian and you look at the evil things that have been done to God's people, where in the Bible do you get justification? Like, how could you be a white Christian and read this scripture and not think of yourself? White Christianity isn't about God. It isn't about justice. It isn't about what's right and wrong. White Christianity is about being the slave master. And black Christianity is about being the slave. And none of it comes from God. You understand what I'm saying? What scriptures do white Christians use to be evil? To be the oppressor on the earth? I've never heard a white person pull one scripture to show that America is right. Never seen a white Christian pull a scripture that showed me democracy was right. Never seen a white Christian pull a scripture that showed me that capitalism was God's way. What about the way that this place is designed or structured comes from God? None of it. So then why are they Christians? Because Christianity gives them power. Christianity gives them authority. Christianity makes them God. Now, the black Christians, I've never seen a black Christian show me democracy in the Bible. All of the pastors that push us to vote, have they ever shown you a voting scripture? All the pastors that push, going to college and getting a good job, have they shown you capitalism in the Bible? All of the good black Christian churches, have they shown you, forgive the oppressor in the Bible? No. So then what is black Christianity about? It's about you being a slave to white people. And that slave religion has no place in the Bible, because the Bible continually speaks about uplifting the poor. The Bible continually speaks about having no respect of person between the rich and the poor, or the black and the white. The Bible constantly speaks about justice and truth and honor, and that's not present in your Christianity. That's not present in your Islam. You understand? The Lord has seen this evil that we are living in, and he tried to warn us. Everybody understand? Let me get Psalm chapter 9. Let's go one chapter in front. All right. Let's see something. Psalm chapter 9, verse 7. Matter of fact, hold on. Psalm chapter 9, verse 9. No, hold up. It's a lot. Yeah, Psalm chapter 9, verse 7. It says, but the Lord shall endure forever. He has prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord will also be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Everybody understand? I'm going to read on. Verse 11, sing praises to the Most High, which dwells in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he makes inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me, thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executes. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hagagayon Salah. You understand? Hagagayon means meditation in Hebrew, to meditate on this. Everybody understands? I'm going to read on a little bit more. This is Psalms 9 and 17. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Yahweh, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put fear in them, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. You understand? Like, this Bible is full of the prayers of the oppressed. This Bible is full of the perspective of the oppressed. There's no place in the Bible where we're the oppressors. There's no place in the Bible where we were cruel to anybody. Even the judgments the Most High gave us concerning killing and destroying other nations was based on evil that they did to us. was based on evil that they did to the Lord, there is no place for oppression in this Bible. Now, the Bible talks about us rulers in the kingdom of heaven. It talks about us having slaves, but it doesn't talk about us being oppressors. Yeah. And there's a difference between rulership and oppression. What we are experiencing is oppression. God gave us laws and rules about a man's life. Let's go ahead and get some of those. When I talk about what a man's life is worth, the Bible tells you what a man's life is worth. Salakia. Let me get Exodus chapter 21. Exodus chapter 21. Get Exodus 21, verse 12. Exodus chapter 21, verse 12 says, "He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death." Everybody understands? That's the price for a life, man. That's the price for anyone's life. A life is the cost. If you kill a man, the punishment is that. Well, if you murder a man, the punishment is that you be murdered. That's what it will be in God's kingdom. That's what it should be in any kingdom that deals in justice. This is not a kingdom that deals in justice. This is not a kingdom that deals in what's right. In this kingdom, you kill a man, the government you work for will pay his family $27 million and tell them it's going to be all right. And tell them at least you got some money. God said, you kill a man, your life is what you pay with. Everybody understands? Come on. Either way, doesn't matter. You kill a man, death. So don't kill a man. Whether you kill a man on accident, whether you plot to kill a man, if it ain't self-defense, death. That's what this is saying. You understand what I'm saying? Let me get you. Let's go on down to verse 18. So just so everybody understands, the laws you have in America today, the different degrees of murder, the different degrees of crimes, is loosely tied to the Bible. And it's not just America who has those laws. The laws of the earth come from this Bible. Again, I've stated before, if it wasn't for the Bible, where is it that pedophilia is wrong? If it wasn't for the Bible, where is it that homosexuality is evil? If it wasn't for the Bible, where is there any rules anywhere that anybody else in the earth respects? The only rules that are respected loosely are the rules in the Bible, because that's the wisdom of mankind. How do you civilize people? You give them rules. Well, the first civilization was Adam. You can't historically, you cannot go to a place where there was a civilization that had rules and laws against these crimes except going to the Bible. The Bible explains to the earth, well, why do we have these rules? Well, you got to go back to the Bible. You understand, right? Without the Bible, there's no rules anywhere. So the laws in America are loosely based off the Bible. So there's first degree murder. First degree murder is premeditated, meaning you plotted and planned to kill somebody. Second degree murder is you kill somebody while you're in the middle of committing a crime. Right? That's like I was robbing a bank and I shot somebody. I didn't plan to shoot this person, but they got shot while I was doing something else I shouldn't have been doing. Third degree murder is I killed them, but I didn't have to. Like you fight somebody, you get in a fight, you beat somebody up, you beat them till they die. That's still murder, but it's third degree, meaning I didn't even leave the house to fight nobody today. The nigga ran up on me, we got to fighting, and I beat him to death. I could have stopped after he was knocked out, but I kept beating him till the skull crushed in. Well, I murdered him. It's third degree murder. Derek Chauvin is charged with third degree murder, meaning you knelt on this cat's neck. You could have let him up. Why did you kneel till he died? That's murder. Still murder. There's no death there's no way that someone can die and it not be considered murder unless they died and you were defending yourself. There's first degree manslaughter. Manslaughter is what they charge you with when somebody dies, but you didn't intend, like you couldn't have known they were going to die. So you hit somebody with a car. It could be first degree. If you run somebody over with a car, that could be first degree manslaughter, meaning you tried to hit them with a car. What the fuck do you think was going to happen? They died because you hit them with a car, nigga. That's murder or manslaughter. Second degree manslaughter is the same thing. You hurt somebody in the middle of another crime, doing something else you ain't supposed to be doing. Third degree manslaughter is, I hit him with my car. I was trying to get away and I hit him with my car, and he got badly hurt. Like all of those degrees are based on was it on purpose? Was it on accident? Could you have avoided it? Either way, somebody dies, it's murder. Everybody understands. And the Bible says that the judgment for a life is your life. We read Exodus chapter 21, verse 18. It says, and if men strive together and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die not but keeps his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit, meaning he shall be acquitted. Meaning he's, all right, brother, you off the hook. That nigga live, you off the hook. But you shouldn't be beating people till they may not walk straight again. You understand? Only he shall pay for the loss of his time and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. If he lives, now you pay. You're going to pay for the time he lost. You're going to make sure he ain't poor and crippled. Now he crippled, but he paid for all the time he missed because you hurt him. Verse 20. And if a man smite his... Oh, hold on. Okay, so it tells you what happened if you beat a man and he lives, but he crippled. You got to pay for that. You don't die because he ain't died, but you're going to pay that man for the time he lost recovering from that beating you gave him. Drop down to verse 23. Exodus 21 and 23. If any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. You understand? Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. Everybody understands? Why did God give us this law? Why did God give us this law? Now, here's someone in the chat, hell-shaking street preacher. I like that you commented in on this. He commented, George Floyd was filled with demons robbing a pregnant woman at gunpoint. He's bringing up a crime that George Floyd committed 20 years before he died. George Floyd was a young man in his 18, 19, 20. He robbed a woman who was pregnant, put a gun in her face and robbed her. Show me where in the Bible that means a man deserves death. See, here's the evil of Christianity. George Floyd committed a crime years ago. What happened as a result of George Floyd committing that crime? George Floyd was arrested. George Floyd went to court. George Floyd got found guilty, and George Floyd went to prison. And George Floyd served out his prison term in the jail that the United States government said that he deserved for his crimes. And when he came home, guess what? He was a free man. No one can hold him for what happened when he robbed a woman at gunpoint because he paid his debt. There are rules in the Bible about committing crimes. And there are some crimes where you go to prison or you pay somebody back for what you stole. George Floyd paid back for the crime that he committed. Now, what do you have to say about the crime that was committed against George Floyd that was murder. Because the Bible is clear about what happens when someone murders someone else. God said a life for a life. The Minnesota Police Department offered George Floyd's family $27 million. That is not good enough. That does not take away the pain. That does not begin the healing. God said life for life. But will America give Derek Chauvin's life for the life of George Floyd? Or are we going to find that a black man's life is worth $27 million, but not worth the life of the man who took his? Because God said he wants a life for a life. Carl Douglas, who was a personal injury lawyer in California and who was a civil rights activist, said that the family of George Floyd should be satisfied with $27 million because, hell, some brothers' families get nothing. At least they threw y'all a bone. He could have just died and you got nothing, which is what most brothers get. Hey, we moved the needle, man. We up to $27 million now. How about we get to where black men don't have to lose their lives? And black men I'm talking about black men not losing their lives by the hands of anybody, but particularly the people who are supposed to protect and serve. The people who are supposed to be trained to have mercy on people. So you can't have mercy unless you have the ability to do damage. And Derek Chauvin had the ability to grant mercy to George Floyd. How do we know he could have gave him the mercy? Because he gave him death. You cannot take a life unless you have the ability to grant mercy. There was no mercy shown from the Minnesota Police Department. So why should mercy be shown to them? We supposed to feel bad for Derek Chauvin and his family and them losing a son, losing a husband, losing a father, but we shouldn't. Don't worry about what George Floyd family got to go through. They got $27 million. But there's no consequences for this man who took his life. God is clear about the consequences. The consequences should be his life. He should not be allowed to breathe. He should not be allowed to exist on this earth because you took away that right from someone else. But America is not a place that is free or equal or just. Only God is just. You understand? Hold up. Come on, sis. Mischief is anything that causes harm. Think of what is crime? Crime is mischief. Matter of fact, let's get a definition of mischief. That's good. Give us the definition of mischief, all right? While I get the definition of mischief, let's go to Proverbs 29:2. We get Proverbs 29:2 as I get the definition of mischief. All right. This is mischief. This is the Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. The definition of mischief: a specific injury or damage attributed to a particular agent. Mischief is a specific injury or damage attributed to a particular agent. You understand? Also, it is a cause or source of harm, evil, or irritation. You understand? So the Bible says if any mischief follow, the mischief is talking about a specific injury or damage attributed to a particular person. So if someone calls injury or damage, then whatever that injury or damage was is going to be returned onto them. That's why after that, it gives you life for life. If mischief causes somebody to die, well, then the person who caused the mischief, they die. If mischief causes someone to lose an eye, then the person who caused the mischief, their eye comes out. You understand? So that's what it means. Mischief is talking about a specific injury or damage. So if any damage occurs, you're going to render payment for that damage. If the damage is a life, then the life got to be the price. And the purpose of this law was not for everybody to die. The purpose of this law was to not die. Treat people with respect. Value their life, because it's a life. It's a life that comes from God. Life comes from the Most High. We don't have any power over life. Sure, a man can put his penis in a woman and they have sex, but you don't make life. God determines life. God decides what the result of that sex is going to be. And if God determines it's going to be a life, who are you to take a life away? Who gave you that authority? Who gave you that power? That's not your position. You're just a man. You're just a woman. You can't determine if somebody lives or dies. And the penalty for that is your life. And that goes into abortion. You know, it goes into everything in life. Who gives you the power? Who gives you the right? God made this person, gave them to their mother and their father, gave them to their family. I just think of all the, people who live a life and then they just die. Murder. Somebody take their life. And somebody's son, somebody's brother. And I remember growing up in the hood and losing friends and cats that I knew died. And it's like, how am I going to go outside and look at his brother tomorrow? Knowing that his brother slept in the house and his brother ain't here no more. How do I come out tomorrow and say, what's up? And we pretend like we both ain't hurting. And it's a lot to get over somebody getting murdered, bro. But we as Black people, because we've experienced it so much, we've become cold to it. We become almost like we drive on autopilot. Because I don't remember any time when a brother died that we didn't just get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then you think about it, how did we do that? How did we just I think of cats, man, that I love, man. These are my friends, and they died, and we cried and was sad, and we got together on the block, and we had drinks and we smoked, and talked about the good times we had, and had a little candlelight vigil, and then a few days later was the funeral, and then it was like the next day we was just all chilling again, and it was like, we take a drink and pour out some for the brother, but we just kept going. We didn't stop, and it ain't supposed to be like that. And I'm talking about these are friends that I had a friend that get killed by the cops. He got killed by the police the same way like George Floyd died. It wasn't public, of course. Nobody ever talked. It wasn't nothing public. It was just another nigga killed by the police. But we just kind of, hey, we got over it. We just dealt with it, and it was, and I look back and I'm like, how did we even do that? How did we do that? Because the Bible doesn't give you it don't give you any provisions for that. The Bible gives you there should be justice. God said it should be an eye for an eye. You know what I'm saying? A life for a life, but we never receive. That's why people talk about, black on black crime, and they talk about how evil it is, and brothers kill brothers out of the coldness that we've learned from America. Brothers kill brothers because pain of someone getting murdered is real. The hurt of someone getting murdered is real. It's not evil. Someone kills your brother and the cats that did it. It's not evil to go and want one of them to die. That's God's justice. That's life for a life. But life for a life was never meant to be taken into our hands. Life for a life is what the government's supposed to decide. This government doesn't decide that. This government has created a system where we have to go and take life for a life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, black on black crime is an evil that is created out of America. Because if there was a righteous system of government in place, we wouldn't have to go shoot somebody's block up after somebody from our hood got killed. The government would make sure that happened. There would be a system in place with the leaders of the community and the people, the older people and the younger people, even the cats that's doing crime. There would be a system in place where they could go and say, kind of turn himself in. Yeah, man, I shot him the other night, man. I know it was wrong. I shouldn't have did it, but he has to turn himself in because the community behind him is going to make him turn himself in. Because the community knows if we don't answer for that blood, then it's going to be somebody's blood over here. And why should it be random blood spilled when it should be the blood of the man who caused the mischief? Like God gave us these laws to give us a right way to deal with crime. America doesn't deal with crime. There is no right way that's been established because these people are void of God. They don't even think about justice. They don't even think about God or consider him in any of their ways. That's what Psalms 10 told us. And so having someone murdered, the feeling that it gives you is you have to take someone's life. Somebody's blood has to spill for this. Murder is never something that anyone on the earth was supposed to just be comfortable with. But we as a people have become comfortable with it because we are under such immense oppression that you better not even cry. You better not even think about not going on with your life because does your bill stop when somebody's murdered? Does your rent stop needing to be paid? Do they give you any reprieve of any responsibilities? No, you don't even have time to mourn in America. And that's what I mean when I say that we lost friends. I gotta go to work in the morning, bro. Yeah. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. We was never given any time to heal or to address it. I had friends that died in school. We didn't have no counselors, no grief counselors, nobody my grades didn't stop needing to be turned in. I had homework, I got projects to do. I can't go to the school and say, I can't do this homework because I keep thinking about my dead friend who got murdered by the police the other day. You don't have time to mourn in this place. You don't have time to feel bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's such an evil thing that, we live in a place where you got some money out of it. You should be happy. It's a horrible, evil, tragic, way to even think about existing on the earth. Come on with it.
My day slavery, I was looking at my day where I was looking at bereavement. 5 days for bereavement if it's an immediate family. If it's like a distant relative, like a cousin or auntie, it's like 3 days. If it's a friend or something, they give you a day or you gotta use your personal time. And I'm gonna go,
That's crazy. It's crazy. But that's and people talk about, like in this time that we're in, there's a lot of talk about mental illness and mental health and things like that. When these people don't give a damn about your mental health, they don't care. If America cared about people's mental health, then capitalism wouldn't be a thing. If they cared about people's mental health, then democracy wouldn't be a thing. If they cared about mental health, then the system of rising to any authority in this place would be the way the Bible set it up. I mean, if they cared about mental health, then the Bible would be the standard for living in this place. But it's not, because that's not what this place is. And the hope is that more and more people will realize that this place is not what they tell us it is. This place is a cruel, evil, horrible place. And the fact that it's looked at as the land of the free and home of the brave just goes to show you how effed up the world is. If America is the best that the planet Earth has to offer, the Earth is in a messed up position. Like the Earth is down bad. We operating at an all-time low in terms of humanity. You mean you got an empire, a system? We got internet, we got planes and trains. The whole world is connected. And America is the best we got? America is a piece of shit. But if it's the best we got, I don't want to see the rest of the world. People want to know why black people don't, travel a lot, why we ain't eager to travel. nigga, if this is the best, what I want to go see, where am I going? And you think about people going on vacation. When people go on vacation, where do they go? They either go to sit by a beach where they're alone, or they go look at other buildings. Because you ain't gonna leave, I grew up in DC. Right? I see the Capitol building every day driving down the street. So you can drive by the White House and go drive by the Washington Monument and all those things. Just buildings, B. I grew up in DC, man. It was crack outside my door, man. It was niggas shooting, and it was prostitutes and pedophiles and all manner of horrible things. But the Capitol building was right there. So what you want me to go to? What, Paris? For what? So I can see the Eiffel Tower and crackheads and pedophiles, and it's the same thing everywhere. If America is the best, and I know what I experienced in the capital of the best, where the fuck you want me to go? I'm gonna go to Tokyo, see shiny buildings in Tokyo, and it's homosexuals and drugs and everything. Like, where am I gonna go? Where is it better at? If America is the standard, what am I supposed to be excited about these buildings? And that's like, I know it's because I'm in the truth that I think this way, right? But I just think, like, what's the point of it? I'm not living my life to see a bunch of nice buildings. I'm living my life to, cleanse my soul, cleanse my spirit. I'm living my life to, please the Most High. I'm trying to live my life with a purpose. God ain't put me here to go see a bunch of buildings in different places. That ain't what, I don't even, what am I doing that for? You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not discouraging anyone from traveling, but I was raised that America is the best of the best. Where else on the earth do I want to go? Now, I do want to go to see some beaches. I want to go and see beautiful water down in the Bahamas or down in Jamaica. I want to go there. But it's like, I want to see what God created. In essence, you travel to see what God created, or you go see what man created. I know what man capable of, which is nothing. I grew up in America. What am I gonna be impressed by? You want me to go to India and see the Taj Mahal? Okay, nice Indian building. What you want me to go to Moscow and see the big building with nice Russian building? And then what? More oppression? Listen, I'm in America with black people who are oppressed. I don't want to go look at Russian oppressed people. I don't want to go look at Chinese oppressed people. I don't want to go look at Japanese oppressed people, because I guarantee you, if a nigga drive a taxi in America, I know he broke. He drive a taxi. I'm going to go to Japan and catch a taxi so I can look at the broke Japanese man driving me around. Like, that's where my mind goes. You feel like it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing for me to see here. Yeah, I might want to go to Peru and see the damn Mayan ruins. Or I might want to go to Guatemala and see some Incan pyramids or something. I'll go see those things, but there ain't no people there. I ain't got to look at no poor Mexicans or no poor Peruvians. I can just go look at the sunrise over the top of the pyramid. Like, damn, that's dope. That's something that, man made, but God is all that. Man made that. The men who made that was in tune with God. They made a pyramid with a sunrise over the top of it in a perfect angle. That's beautiful. But I don't want to go see, other great riches where people are poor and starving. I would go to Japan and see all poor Japanese. Like, okay, there's Japanese niggas too. Japanese poor people. That's what Japanese crackheads look like. Oh, Japanese winos. You know what I'm saying? I go to the liquor store and see an old Japanese cat outside the store. I'm like, okay, I'll take a picture of Japanese winos. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to see that shit. It's a lot here. That's what they be doing. You see a little bit of red. You can see a little red and a little pussy out there begging for change at the damn Japanese liquor store. I'm good, man. Yeah. I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen oppression, man. And that's all that the earth has to offer. You telling me America is the best that it gets? Man, I don't want to see the rest of the earth. Damn that. You know what I'm saying? Get Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. know what I'm saying? It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. You understand? When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. These laws is in this Bible, man. This life for a life, tooth for a tooth. It is righteous in that it discourages anybody from crime. Because you know that the consequences of crime is whatever you've done to someone will come back to you. Now imagine if Derek Chauvin lived in a place where it was a life for a life. Would he have sat on that man's neck for 8 hours? I mean, for 8 minutes? No. Derek Chauvin would not have even attempted to take that man's life because he would have considered his own life. And when you have a place where a life doesn't count for a life, then why should I respect anyone else's? Why should I care for anyone else's? You understand? Reading on to Proverbs 29:3. Whoso loveth wisdom rejoices his father, but he that keeps company with harlots spends his substance. The king by judgment establishes the land, but he that receives gifts overthrows it. Everybody understand? When it says the king by judgment establishes the land, meaning the king, he wants the land to, the king rules so that the land will be in order. Everybody understand? That's why it says the king by judgment establishes the land, but he that receives gifts overthrows it. Someone that takes a bribe, someone that takes a buyout, someone who is not righteous in judgment, they overthrow the land. The land falls to chaos, and that's America. America is the land falling to chaos because this system in place is not about right or wrong. There is no equality. It's about black and white, but it's also about rich and poor. If you black and rich, you could buy your way out of oppression. Meaning from the criminal system. But if you black and poor, you guilty. If you white and poor, being white will buy you something in that criminal system. But if you white and rich, forget about it. You ain't never gonna face judgment for nothing. There's a documentary, man, on HBO I watched called Allen versus Pharaoh. There's a producer in Hollywood named Woody Allen. Made a lot of movies. Old white Jewish goofy looking guy. And there was an actress named Mia Farrow who he married, right? Anyway, I ain't gonna get the whole details. This cat molested this woman's child. The little girl was 7 years old. No, the Chinese girl, he married her. Okay, so here's how evil Woody Allen was. Woody Allen got with Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow was like, I don't know, 30, in her 30s, right? But she had 3 children of her own, and she had like 3 adopted Cambodian children. Mia Farrow was famous during the 70s when Vietnam was going on. And of course, the consequences of Vietnam was a lot of orphan children, a lot of, messed up and abused little Asian kids. Well, rich celebrities back in the 70s, they were adopting Asian kids to take care of them. So Mia Farrow had 3 children that she had from a previous relationship, but she had 3 children that she had adopted. Woody Allen got with her and they were together, but they never lived together, never got married. But he was dealing with her. She had 3 adopted children. One of those adopted children was a 14-year-old Cambodian girl. Well, him and Mia Farrow together adopted another child, which was this little girl named Dylan. And then she got pregnant and had a baby. Now, the baby was supposed to be Woody Allen's, but the baby looked just like Frank Sinatra. There's a cat now named Ronan Farrow. So the whole Me Too movement, the writer behind it, the researcher, the journalist behind the whole Me Too movement is this cat named Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow is the youngest son of Mia Farrow. Well, when Ronan was like 4 and his adopted sister Dylan was 7, Woody Allen molested the little girl Dylan. And when it came out, the little girl told her mother. And her mother took her to whatever they did, took her to get seen by a doctor. The doctor reported it to the police. Well, Woody Allen had been with the woman, Mia, for like 10 years at that time. Her daughter, the adopted Asian girl who was 14 when Woody Allen met her, when she got out of high school, Mia Farrow went over to Woody Allen's house and was going through his drawers and found naked pictures of the girl. So the Asian girl who he had known since she was 14 was now 18 and in college. He had naked pictures of her in his drawers. So when she found out, she like,
She having sex with Soon Yi, and he like, we had an affair. And I was going to tell you, but it happened one time. It was a mistake. But then after she found out about him having sex with the Asian daughter, he molested the other girl. And so when the whole shit came out, he used his power and influence being a movie maker in New York to make sure that the case, none of the information ever came out. So the whole documentary was about how his power and influence in New York basically brought him no criminal charges in this case where it was clear and obvious that he had molested this girl. It was so bad that they had got the damn reporters that the social workers in New York State that do the meeting with the child and take the notes. The supervisors came down and told the dude that did the reporting on the girl, you better not submit this report. You better not tell nobody. We're taking you off the case. They tried to take his notes, and the dude was like, nah, this little girl got molested. Like, he put his job on the line type shit, but it just go to show you that you rich and white in this place, they can make anything disappear. The system ain't the system in that case, which means you gotta, the land falls when you have that. When you got a system that ain't reliable, ain't dependable, when somebody can just buy their way out, but what the hell are we dealing with here? What are we even doing? We just pretending. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm young. I was young back then, but I remember it, and it was like this cat made like 50 movies after that. And he just kept making movies with like nothing happened. And this girl now is like 20, she like 30 something, and she like came out and told her story again. So like 2014, she came out with an essay like, I'm grown now. Like, I'm the girl that Woody Allen molested. Like, y'all still watch his movies and shit. He getting awards and lifetime achievements. And she is a woman now. Got to look at people celebrate this cat. Put fingers. And they go into details of the molestation. This is a nasty bastard. She's 7 years old. And she talked about the things he did. And it's like, y'all celebrating this nigga, bro. Y'all give him lifetime achievement awards. And all the actresses and actors is like, bigging them up like y'all some evil bastards, man. Allen versus Pharaoh. It's a documentary. It's a 4-part jump on HBO Max. Allen versus Pharaoh. Yeah, it can take you through all the details of the whole thing, but it just go to show you that this system in place is evil as hell, man. You know what I'm saying? And there is no justice in this place because it's not built for there to be justice. The only justice comes from the Most High. You understand? I'm gonna read on. Proverbs 29 verse 7 says, the righteous considers the cause of the poor, but the wicked regards not to know it. You understand? And that's this place. That's America. You understand? And there are no righteous. There is no one that pleads for the cause of the poor, which is why the poor just suffer. And if there is suffering of the poor, what do they just do? Throw some money at it. Here, poor. You poor? You sad? Here, take some money. When that doesn't solve your problem, doesn't cure your ailment, everybody understands. And that's why the Lord is so right in that he's capable of afflicting people with something that only he can solve. And there's so many brothers and sisters. I'm focused, these classes focus on Israelites. There's so many of our people that are suffering because God is trying to get their attention. And they're trying everything to stop their suffering, but only God can heal you. Nothing can heal that wound that you get but the Lord. 27 million is not going to heal the wound of George Floyd's family. Only the Lord can heal that wound. You understand? Let me drop that. Let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. You understand? The answer to the question, what is a black man's life worth? A black man's life is worth the same as every other man's life. You understand? And no one has the right to take any man's life, period. But the U.S. government has decided that George Floyd's life was worth $27 million. And the Lord says that is evil. That is not fair. That is not justice. You understand? And this world would like for you to accept that 27 million and feel good about it. God forbid something happened to me or someone in my family. We suing for all the money. Yes, we're gonna sue. We're gonna get that 27 million. But there is no there's never a thought that comes to mind that this is justice. That 27 million is just, that's what America is going to pay right now. But God is the one who's going to make it right. Everybody understands. No dollar amount makes it right. No dollar amount ends any suffering. You understand? But the Lord has established what the price of a life is worth. Everybody understands. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. It says, so I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. You understand? George Floyd's family don't have any comforter. There's no comfort in that 27 million. That 27 million doesn't make it all better, doesn't make it all okay. There's still no comforter. Everybody understands. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power. You understand? There's power on the side of the oppressors. The power to what? Power to kill. Power to show mercy. The power to pay 27 million or to decide if the cop is guilty or not guilty. That's the power that's on the side of the oppressor. They can choose to show mercy. They can choose not to. There's no mercy shown to a man like George Floyd in the system. But there can be mercy shown to a man like Derek Chauvin, who's the one who killed him. In God's system, the only mercy that would be shown to Derek Chauvin is the mercy that he showed to George Floyd. In God's kingdom, someone would kneel on George Chauvin's neck till he didn't breathe, the same way he kneeled on George Floyd's neck, and that would be justice. Everybody understands. But there is no making right the wrong of death unless someone pays with a life. Everybody understands. Let me drop that. Drop that. Let me get hold on. Let's get Romans chapter 12, verse 9. No, that ain't Romans 12. Well, hold on. Hold on. Oh, that's not it. Let's go ahead and get Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Now we'll get Romans 12 and 19, then we'll get Jeremiah, and we'll close it out. So this Romans chapter 12, verse 19 says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Everybody understands? You understand? We are not in the time to avenge ourselves. We are not in the time where we go get justice for ourselves. We should allow the Most High to be the one that will get justice for us. We should allow the Most High to be the one who allows for his vengeance to be felt. You understand? Because this place and this people who has ruled over us, what the Most High is going to do to them, we could never do. The punishment that the Most High is going to bring is it could not compare to what it is that we would see. You understand? So for the family of George Floyd and brothers and sisters who have lost loved ones at the hands of this system, pray to the Most High and put the Most High first in that vengeance. But what we have to understand is if we want justice, we have got to earn it from the Lord. You understand? You cannot get vengeance if you don't obey the Most High and become the man and woman he called you to be. You cannot get justice if you are just as evil and cruel as the people who are oppressing you. What we have to do is withdraw from our oppressor, withdraw from his society, his way of life, withdraw from his mentality about life, and then maybe the Lord, maybe we'll be able to see the true value of life, which is what the Most High placed on us. We live according to the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, and become the nation He called us to be, then He will be the one to avenge us. Everybody understand? Drop that. Let me get what did I say I was going to get? Jeremiah. Come. Matter of fact, let me get Isaiah 47:7. So like, it's Isaiah 47, verse 7. It says, "Thou hast said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou did not lay these things to thy heart, neither did remember the latter end of it." All the things that are occurring to us. We read in Psalms 10, 5 through 12, how they don't give any thought to God. They don't think about the punishment that comes from the evil that they do. They don't think about it, give any thought concerning judgment. The Lord said, because you thought you was going to be a lady forever, and you did not lay these things to heart, neither remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that is given to pleasures and dwells carelessly, that says in your heart, I am, and there none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. That's the attitude of our oppressor. The things that we suffer in the ghetto, they tell themselves they'll never suffer those things. The Lord said here, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it has perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. The price of a life is a life. And that has always been God's perspective. So America may think that they can throw 27 million at the family of George Floyd. They may think that they can throw 12 million at the family of Breonna Taylor, and that all bets are off, and that they're now, and that we're equal now. God said something different. We're not equal, and it's not okay. And there is going to be payment rendered for the lives that have been taken. And God is coming to get it in blood. With that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, we've been teaching since 1969, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians are the lost 12 tribes, according to this book called the Bible. You understand? The lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to the Bible. We have classes in Memphis, Tennessee, 216 North Hollywood Street. Get in contact with us at 301-787-6218, 301-787-6218 for information regarding the classes. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. You got family, people you love about, you know what I'm saying, that's in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas. Get them in contact with the ISUPK. With that, we're going to be down tomorrow for class, but we will be having class Thursday. All right, so tomorrow we will not have class, but we'll have class Thursday. Lord allow, we'll be having camp this weekend. This Saturday, we're going out hitting the streets here in Memphis, so I'm looking very much forward to that. And with that, salute to the brothers out there. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah Barak Thumb. Salute to the sisters. Yahweh Shemal Thumb Bashim Yahweh Shah. Shalom, Israel. See y'all Wednesday.